And welcome back to another edition of the DFS Deep Dive. Week 15, ready to break it down. Fan playoffs in full effect for some of you. Some of them started last week, some of them going on this week. Let's see if we can't help you. And then we're going to go over the ladder challenge as well. Smashed it last week. Well, not smashed, a little bit of a sweat. But let's see what we got this week.
Don't just stay in the shallow end. Join us on a DFS deep dive on For Frequency's Sake. And now here are your hosts, Brian Craighead and Jordan Kernan.
And we're back with the DFS Deep Dive brought to you by Derma Modeling, Route 96, and Ryan Allison Tattoo on the For Frequency Sake Network. Sorry, I was keeping track of all the A scores. So let's get to football. So this week's a little bit unique, and it's kind of going to be a little unique from here on out with the NFL slate. So we had Thursday night's just complete and total dismantling of Chargers. Everybody sees Brandon Staley get fired 63-21, and it shouldn't have even been that close. Just wow. Pretty insane. We have a 3-game slate tomorrow. We're not going to cover it. I just want to kind of give you a quick overview. It starts at noon. It goes till 7:15. It's almost like the Thanksgiving slate. It just starts a little bit later. So some of these games will probably overlap. You got the Vikings taking on the Bengals, 40.5-point total. The Bengals are 3-point favorites here. It looks like Nick Mullins is going to continue to start for the Vikings for the rest of the year. You got the Steelers heading to Indianapolis against the Colts, 42.5-point total. The Colts are minus 1.5-point favorites. And then you got the Broncos heading to Ford Field to take on the Lions, 47.5-point total. The Lions are 4.5-point favorites. Honestly, all three of these games should be pretty competitive. I think they're all still really fighting for playoff spots, to be honest with you. Hot take from a few weeks ago. I called it. I think Denver has a strong showing here. And the Chiefs are kind of rolling over right now. And I think the Broncos shot at the division. So you heard it here first. That's my hot take for the rest of the year. But either way, I think Denver has a shot at the playoffs for real. I like the 3-game slates. You have to be a little bit more. You have to be just a little bit more psyched with what you're doing. But it kind of takes some of those options out. Like, I mean, you can obviously probably say who's going to be one of the better quarterback plays. Probably Cincinnati, if I had to guess, with Jake Browning. Both those defenses aren't very good, so I can see that game being pretty back and forth. Where, the Steelers, even though they got straight up rickrolled by Bailey Zappi, I think the Steelers kind of turn around. Mike Tomlin's going to stand for that loss, and I could see the defense stepping up. And then the same thing with the Broncos. The Broncos defense has been really good lately, and the Lions just haven't been the greatest. So I think I really like that first game with pieces from the other two. But with that being said, week 15, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games on the slate here. Kind of like the last few weeks, though, there has been just, a couple games that really stand out, and then the rest are pretty mediocre. We've got future Mrs. Hancock here joined. How are you doing? Congrats to you guys. That's pretty awesome. Oh, look at that. Kicker Points F joined. I like it. We got some people in here this week. That's what I like to see, guys. And girls. If you haven't checked out my article, it came a little bit later, about 5 p.m. But let's get those views up, man. I've had some really, really good takes lately. Well, let's jump into the games here, the games that I like to target. Starting with hottest game on the slate. Probably one of the hottest teams in football right now, the Dallas Cowboys, taking on the Bills, over under 50.5 points. And right now, the Bills are minus 2.5 point favorites. I don't know what it is. Like, cool, you guys beat the Chiefs. I get it. But to me, the Chiefs just haven't been, they haven't been that elite team. They haven't been that elite team this year where Dallas is just, they've been rolling opponents. Yeah, they've had the, the one bad showing, at the beginning of the year where they were still trying to figure things out against Arizona. Then you have the, you travel to Philly and you get beaten Philly, which is, it's always hard to win on the road. And same thing, traveled to San Francisco and get beat by the 49ers and just totally just smashed by the 49ers. It wasn't even, a beating. It was like they just got pummeled. And, but, that was what? Oh, that was a long time ago, it seems like. I can't even remember. But anyway, since the Cowboys have been rolling, Josh Allen hasn't looked good all year long. I like, and the Bills defense isn't anything like they used to be. They're still without Tre'Davious White. The corners have been getting torched. Even if they try to shut down CeeDee Lamb, I think you could go to either Brandon Cooks or Michael Gallup, even Jake Ferguson. But I really like this game. I like the Cowboys side of it. And if you look at the Cowboys defense, they're priced at $3,200. I'm sorry, but Allen with shout out Joe Winkle, because I know he's going to agree with me on this one. Allen just chucks the ball up sometimes. I would not be surprised to see the Cowboys take one to the house. And at 3,200, sign me up all day. You got the Washington Commanders taking on the Los Angeles Rams. We're under 49.5. The Rams are minus 6.5-point favorites. I don't think that line has moved at all. Nope. The total's gone up by a point. Right now, Sam Howell and Matthew Stafford are the two top owned quarterbacks on the slate, which is actually, I don't surprise at all. I'm kind of surprised that what's his name, Cooper Kupp, isn't higher owned at $7,800. I mean, the guy just went off 10 catches, 150 yards last week, no touchdowns, but I guess I do kind of worry about Kyron Williams getting a lot of the touches. He's one of my favorite running backs on the slate this week. So I'll be kind of interested to see what's going on there. And after that, you've got San Francisco at Arizona. Kind of like the Cowboys, actually better than the Cowboys. They've been rolling. San Francisco's just been taking it to every opponent that they've faced lately. And Arizona is, it's kind of a lost season for them. They haven't been very good. Kyler Murray back. They were kind of banged up for a little while, and they still have some receivers banged up, but they're still trying to figure it out. And it's too late in the season for that. 47.5-point total. San Francisco is favored by almost 2 touchdowns. It's dropped a little bit. The total's gone up by a little bit, but the Niners are only favored by 12 now. And I wrote it up there, favored by 13.5. But same thing. I mean, the 49ers they've been doing it all. Christian McCaffrey, Brock Purdy, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk. George Kittle's cooled off a little bit, but I do like Deebo. He's priced way up, though. I like Ayuk. I like McCaffrey. Nothing. And honestly, I mean, I think Arizona's going to have to air it out. So I think you can get to like Greg Dortch, who, between him and Marquise Brown and Trey McBride, I think they are those are pieces. You can beat San Francisco through the air. This game right here is actually a game that I really, really like, and I'm surprised that the total hasn't gone up a little bit more. If the Buccaneers traveling to Green Bay, the weather is not going to be terrible. At least it hasn't been in the Midwest, a little south. But 41.5-point total. Green Bay favored by 3.5. Green Bay coming off a tough loss against the Giants on that doubleheader Monday night game, and then Tampa Bay coming off a really big win against the Falcons, which they were on the road for that. They're on the road here, but they're fighting for the playoffs. Right now, they sit at they're in first place right now. So they've got their divisional record. They're hanging on to the playoff spot at 6-7. So they really need a win here. I mean, honestly, both teams really need a win. Sitting at 6-7, and both of them, the Packers are holding on to that third wild card spot right now. So pretty interesting here. And then last but not least, we already talked about them. Kansas City Chiefs in New England. Looks like Bill Belichick is probably done in New England after this season. But why not go out with the bang? Kansas City favored by 8 and 37.5-point total. There's one of two things that are going to happen here. Bill Belichick is going to ride, and he's going to have this defense really show up and really try to just show that he's still the man. And it's going to be hard to do with Bailey Zappi at quarterback, the way Kansas City's defense has been playing. or the only other is going to is Kansas City's going to come out. And they're going to come out pissed off. Pat Mahomes kind of showed his ass, yelling at the refs and stuff like that. I understand the nitpicky calls. I mean, it happens. It is what it is. But Mahomes kind of just he really, I think he's going to be out there to prove that he's somebody that can be looked up to, and show that he's really still the quarterback of this generation, which he is. You can take anything away from the guy. He's a phenomenal quarterback. It just, how frustrating can it be to just be so good for so long, through your first however many seasons, and then, you just don't have any weapons and it sucks. So, you kind of feel for the guy, but I think he comes out and plays a little angry here. Games to fade in this one. So there's really not a whole lot of games that, I'm like completely like, oh man, you got to stay away from this because it's just ugly. Every game's got a low total this week. I kind of have interest in, because it seems like it's a bad team going up against a bad defense, or, a bad offense going against bad defense, or a good offense going up against a good defense. But this is the one that I put on there was Atlanta at Carolina, over under 35.5 point total, Atlanta -3. But as I kind of start thinking about this game here, I really, really think that this could be like Carolina Super Bowl. Every team who's just doing terrible every single year. I mean, the Panthers are 1-12. They haven't done anything all year. They've got the one good win at home. I think this could be like their, we're going to figure things out next season. Like, just stick with us. We're going to put a big stamp on this win here. Atlanta's fighting for that NFC South title, because if they don't win the division, they're probably not making the playoffs. And Carolina could come out and really just put it to them. But I think it could be a good back and forth game with maybe a field goal being the difference here. So I don't completely hate that game. So with that being said, let's jump into the quarterback position right after we take a quick break. Durham Remodeling, check them out on Facebook. If you need anything done, Durham Remodeling is your place to go.
Serving the Quad Cities area since 1973. And with over 50 years of excellence on their track record, you'll see why it's so easy to trust their experts when it comes to all of your home improvement projects. This family-owned business has you covered on all your needs. Protect your home or building from the elements today and get great roof repair services. Need new windows? No problem. Durham Remodeling can upgrade your windows and doors. Whether you want to upgrade the little details in your home or office, or want to tear a room down and start fresh, the expert contractors at Durham Remodeling have your back. Even the smallest changes can completely transform your space. Ready to start entertaining your friends for backyard barbecues? Durham Remodeling will help you plan, design, and build your deck and patio for the perfect outdoor space. Durham Remodeling's work is 100% guaranteed, so you can rest assured that you're getting the best service around. Call 309-786-6715 today for your free estimate for all your roofing, siding, flooring, windows, and painting needs. That's Durham Remodeling, 309-786-6715.
And we are back here. So I'm going to let's present my screen here. Let's share it. Shout out to Lydia's man, Dan Hancock, for showing me how to do the screen share. It's pretty simple, but sometimes I feel dumb and I can't get things going. So building this first look lineup here, if you take a look, we had my start, Jordan Love at 6,200 going up against Tampa Bay. I really do like that matchup here. I kind of want to bring back, but it was hard to get to somebody just based off of who was out there and how expensive they are. I do like Rashad White, but this is kind of just a first look. Bijan Robinson from Atlanta going up against Carolina. Like I said, I really like that game. Breece Hall from the Jets going up to Miami. He's kind of just been doing it all. Tons of targets. One of those guys who just, if they're down, he's getting the ball in the air. If they're up, he's running the ball. I mean, honestly, he's doing a lot more in the passing game than anything. So with PPR upside on DraftKings is huge. Same thing, Garrett Wilson from the Jets going up against Miami. I mean, you could easily turn around and just throw Zach Wilson in there. He is super cheap. You get Zach Wilson, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, and then you could turn around and go with somebody else. But then you kind of have to sacrifice somewhere where, like I really like the matchup for Bijan, but, you get to Rashad White here. But anyway, Garrett Wilson, Romeo Dubs, he looks like he shook his Q tag. He did have one. Somebody else I don't mind if he's still going to play. Looks like he shook his Q tag too. No injury designation is Jaden Reed. So I don't mind stacking like Wilson with 2, Jordan Love with 2. Not a bad thing. Brandon Cooks he was another guy. He didn't practice on Thursday or Friday because he was ill. So, maybe Michael Gallup jumps into that number 2 role. Chico Okonkwo, $2,900. Super, super cheap for a guy who's getting a lot of targets. And this is a week where, I normally don't pay up at tight end anyway. But I don't like any of the guys at tight end. It's a wasteland up there. It seems like nobody's involved or anything like that. Kyron Williams is somebody who we kind of talked out in the beginning of the show. The dude is just getting all the work. I mean, he's touching the ball 20 to 25 times. Last week he touched the ball 28 times. The week before that, 26 times. The week before that, 22 times. He is just getting all the work. He's somebody going up against a terrible Washington defense that I'm all over. And then, like I said, the Cowboys defense, I understand they're on the road. I understand it's Josh Allen, but Josh Allen hasn't skated this year. He's one of the worst in the league in turnovers. So I definitely like the Cowboys at a discounted price. Let's start at the quarterback position here. Like I said, I'm skipping over Josh Allen. He just hasn't been very good. Dak Prescott's the first guy I wrote up. He's been on fire, just killing it. 41 points, then a 16, then a 35, then a 28, then an 18. He didn't have to do anything against Philadelphia. He didn't have to do anything against Carolina. But, man, they were just letting him, like against the Giants, they just let him show out. Same thing against Washington. Seattle, he had a game. And I think this could be one of those sneaky ones where, Josh Allen's going to make it a game. I think the Bills do make it a game. But I want to be on the Dak Prescott side. He has just been lighting it up. He's been red hot. And if I'm paying all the way up, I'm going to save myself the $200 and play the guy who's just been having way better weeks, in my opinion. Josh Allen, he had the 143 there. He's had a 33. But honestly, like his floor is, his floor is as good as Dak Prescott's is right now. So give me Dak Prescott. Skipped over Tua, skipped over Mahomes. Looks like CJ Stroud is now doubtful with a concussion. So I'm probably staying away from the Texans altogether at this point, which kind of makes me like Tennessee's defense. But they are priced all the way up at 3,700. So we'll get to that in a little bit. Justin Fields going up against Cleveland. Cleveland's been able to shut people down. They have had those few games where they just, they don't do it, but they're at home. Chicago hasn't been very good. So, Fields kind of showed out last week against Detroit, but Cleveland's defense has been stud all year. So staying away from them. A guy that we can probably go right back to, Brock Purdy, just been doing it all. And his price is, it's coming up little by little. But since week 10, he's only come up $1,100, and he's just getting it all done. He's just every single week, and besides week 12 against Seattle, where it was a Christian McCaffrey game, he's just been doing it. 23 points, 30 points, 32 points, 25 points. At $6,800, a 25 is over 4x. So he's doing it. Kyler Murray on the other side of the game, no thank you. Sam Howell, like I said, Sam Howell is the number one owned quarterback on the slate right now. That'll probably change by Sunday, but expect them to throw. I'm not comparing Sam Howell to Lamar Jackson, but Lamar Jackson just tore up the Rams defense. So I could see like a Logan Thomas because Isaiah Likely just had a huge game, but a Logan Thomas always scares me. There's always the in-game injury risk. So, but you can stack Sam Howell pretty cheap. Jordan Love, same thing. I really like him. He made my first look. Matthew Stafford on the other side of that Washington game. Like I said, I think that Washington's defense isn't very good, but I could see you going like Sam Howell with like a Curtis Samuel and then bringing it back with Kyron Williams. I think Kyron Williams just runs all over these guys here. Derek Carr against the Giants. I've never been a Derek Carr fan. I don't plan on being one now. Baker Mayfield's been pretty legit lately. They're really fighting here. At 5,700, I mean, the 20 points is kind of where his ceiling's been. He really hasn't done anything more than that. He had 120, almost a 24-point game. I don't mind Baker Mayfield, but it's hard to figure out who you're going to stack him with. And Rashad White seems to be the guy who eats up all the production. So staying away from Baker Mayfield. But right below him, Joe Flacco. And I think this is probably the lowest I'm going to go. It's weird to say. You got old dusty Joe Flacco, but the dude has thrown the ball, 44 or 45 times in 2 games. Just a super cheap stack. They're super cheap stack option. You could stack Flacco and Amari Cooper for $11,500 and really just have a ton of room to play with. I mean, then you could even stack him with Elijah Moore or David and Njoku. Still only spend $15K and just have all the room to work with. And Njoku's been a guy that he threw 2 long touchdown passes to him. Chicago's secondary has not been as good as their run defense has been. So I like Joe Flacco here. Will Levis is with CJ Stroud being out, I just know that stays competitive, and you can run on the Texans. Desmond Ridder, Carolina's secondaries has been pretty good. No to Jameis Winston. Tommy DeVito. So I wrote him up, and we kind of talked. I kind of talked about him a little bit. He's been getting it done the last 3 games. He hasn't really had to play a tough defense, and when he did, he was. He's been home against both of these guys here. So against Washington, he didn't. They got trounced by Dallas, but I think Danny Dimes started that game, and DeVito kind of came in relief and whatever. But against Washington, they completely blew out Washington on the road. Washington defense sucks, though. Then they had New England and Green Bay, 2 tough defenses, and not necessarily tough, but a 10-7 win and then a 24-22 last-second field goal. He's looked good. He hasn't really thrown a whole lot of touchdowns, and Saquon Barkley's been doing a lot. But now it gets a tough matchup against New Orleans on the road, and New Orleans' defense has been a little bit better than both New England and Green Bay. So I don't like it. I don't like it down. Zach Wilson is somebody that I don't mind. Miami's defense doesn't really scare me. And like I said, super cheap stack options again. But after that, I think I'm just kind of Flacco is kind of where I was at. But then, you have a couple cheap options in those last couple guys. Kind of curious who will probably be starting for Houston here. Davis Mills at 4,900. If I'm going to pay 4,900, I'm probably going to go with Zach Wilson in a better matchup. So, having talked about them, let's get to the running backs, and then we'll hit another commercial here. CMC, top of the list, $9,300. I mean, the guy's he does it all. He's probably going to get you 20 points. That's what did he get you? 19 last week. He's probably going to get you around 20 points with a ceiling of 35 to 40. The guy can do it. I mean, ceiling is even 50 points, but I temper expectations. 40 points is, if he scores you 40, you probably have to have him. Kind of a staple in cash games at this point. Like, you kind of just plug him in and just build around him. And there's always cheap options to go around. So Christian McCaffrey's not bad. Where's he at for ownership wise? Oh, yep, he's always in the top 5. He's top 5 right now for ownership, so I do like that. And then going down to Alvin Kamara, not necessarily burned us last week. He was the guy that I got off. I mean, great matchup against Carolina, and then just didn't do anything. 12 rushes, 56 yards, caught 3 passes for negative 11 yards. The touchdown really saved his game, and thankfully Christian McCaffrey didn't go off, because that was kind of where we tried to be a little bit different than the field, and it ended up paying off because we ended up being able to get to a couple other guys. Like, I can't remember now. But, I mean, either way, it panned out for the best. We doubled up, so we're going to try to do it again, $20 into 40 this week. And I don't think I'm going to do a head-to-head. What I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to enter it into a cash game. So those ones there, they're 50-50. If you go to your lobby, and we'll just make this real quick. If you go to your lobby and you search for, you can change everything, or you can look for a different contest. you can make it into, if this ever loads, you can search for 50-50s here on the side. Where'd it go? Oh, see, those are the featured contests. So yes, click on FL, then you can go to 50-50s and double ups. I always sort it by entry fee. And I always do, when I'm doing it here, I like them to be guaranteed. And there's a way to set entrance. I usually do this on my phone. So guaranteed winner with crowns, head to head, featured. So I always do the single entry. I don't if you can't do like a single entry, then I'm not about that life. Because I want everybody in that contest to only be able to enter it one time. So I know what the field's doing. I know that, I know that Bobby's going to be having, Sam Howell and all the guys who are the same ownerships that I'm seeing that you can have access to, like through ESPN. You can see their ownerships and what the field's going to do. So I'm looking for those single entry ones. I really wish I could figure it out real quick, but I'm entering those single entry contests. I want, and then once I do that, I want the biggest ones that I can find with the most entrants. So it gives the most kind of room for error. So if you go by entry fee and you're kind of scrolling down, this week we'll do a $20 one. So let's actually, they don't have a $20 one. So we could do two $10 ones even, or even a $25 one, whatever you can afford for your bankroll. What I'll probably do is do right here, see where it says the M. That means that there's multiple entries. Don't do that because you're going to get sharp players who enter that and they enter the same up, however many times. So if you click on the M, it's going to tell you how many times you can enter. You can enter it 6 times. You'll have a lot of these guys who are sharp players enter it 6 times with the same lineup, and then it really skews the field. So it skews where the money line is, and if then they just do it to get their ROI up. So, and that's their rate of return basically. So what I'll probably do is I'll scroll up to the $25 range. I'll find the one here where there's not an M, so there's not multiple entries. There's 1,800 people, so there's a lot of room for like some of these. Like, I bet you 1,000 of these people are going to enter like a tournament you want the highest owned players on the slate for these contests, and that's where you really want to put your money. What I've been doing and what I should have been doing from the get-go is entering a lot of double ups because right now I think on 10 out of 15 weeks where I've cashed them and then taking that same lineup and putting it in a tournament, because there's been a couple times where I would have taken down a tournament, have just stuck to what I'm supposed to be doing. So I hate to get kind of off topic there, but it's one of those things to where, the double ups, I think the double up challenge works really well. Every once in a while you get shafted a little bit, but it's not a huge deal. You can usually get it back pretty quick, pretty easily. So anyway, so let's clear this out. Get back to running back. So Kyren Williams, that I absolutely love. I absolutely love the opposite side of that game. If Matthew Stafford's not doing it, Kyren Williams is. Saquon Barkley going up against New Orleans. He's kind of the offense right now, so I don't mind Saquon Barkley at all. It's just I think if I'm going to pay it higher, I'm just going to pay the extra $200 and get to Kamara. A-Chain popped up with a questionable tag. I think him and Mostert both had a questionable tag. It looks like his toe, limited practice. If he's out, I like Mostert a little bit better. If he's in, I don't really like either of them at that price point. I mean, they both can do it. Mostert's getting all the carries. A-Chan's getting all the he's getting all the passing down work. But Jets can be beat on the ground. It's just a matter of whether or not this game script plays that. And if Tyreek Hill is out, which he's still questionable day to day. He didn't practice Friday. So if Tyreek Hill is out, almost like Jalen Waddle a little bit more. But those two guys, I could see A-Chain having probably a little bit bigger of a passing down work and being more involved in the passing game. Rachaad White going up against Green Bay. I love Rachaad White. The guy is the same. He's like a poor man's Kyren Williams. He's getting all the work. 25 touches, 2 targets, 20 touches, 5 targets. I mean, he's getting the same amount of work that Kyron Williams is. He's just not doing as much as Kyron Williams is. So same thing, I think this week is going to be a 3 running back week for me. It's just hard to pinpoint the receivers. And I like a lot of running backs. So I really like the running backs. Rashad White, he's right up there. Derrick Henry, I'm staying away from Derrick Henry. And I'm only saying that because he's not getting any passing down work. And if the game is back and forth, which I don't know that this one will be, Derrick Henry's just not doing it. He's not doing it. And Tyjae Spears is getting all passing down work. I mean, Spears had 8 catches for 89 yards. So, Henry's kind of getting phased out here. And it wouldn't surprise me if Tennessee really is for a true partner here and kind of give the reins to Spears next year. But Henry's probably on his way out the door. Isaiah Pacheco's out this week, but I was not a big fan of either Edwards-Helaire or McKinnon last week. And New England's a little bit, they're pretty decent against the run. Bijan Robinson, another guy I really, really love. Going up against Carolina can beat on the ground, and Bijan's really kind of been he's been involved a lot lately. Pushing his touches up, involved in the passing game. When they're down, he's the one who's getting the passing game work. So, like I said, this could be Carolina's their Super Bowl here. So, I like Bijan Robinson. Tony Pollard, I'm staying away from. I don't know. The guy's just not doing it. They're not using him the way they need to. Aaron Jones, I don't like Aaron Jones just because of the injury risk. The guy's been hurt all year long. Breece Hall, I do like Breece Hall. I kind of talked about him already. He's the guy who's, he's getting the running down work, and then when he's not, he's getting the passing work. He's had 6, 9, 8, and 9 targets the last 4 weeks. So I love Breece Hall going up against Miami, which should be a high-paced game. James Cook, no thanks. Brian Robinson and Ramondre Stevenson are out. Ezekiel Elliott is actually the highest owned running back on the slate right now. They gave him the ball 22 times last week, 68 yards, 8 targets, 7 receptions for 72 and a touchdown. I mean, Zeke went off. He did it. And, he's probably fresh because they haven't used him a whole lot all long. So I don't mind that play at all at 5,800. Like I said, that just goes to show how many running backs are in play this week. No thanks to James Conner or Chuba Hubbard. I don't mind Jerome Ford. He's kind of the same thing as Rashad White and Kyron Williams. He's getting a lot of the targets. He's that guy who, he's kind of splitting time with Kareem Hunt, so he's not getting 100% of the volume, but trust the guy, and he's going to continue to be that person. I don't mind stacking him with Joe Flacco either. Singletary and probably Pierce down here at 4,700. You could probably look at it a little bit. A.J. Dillon's questionable too. I mean, if the Packers have somebody else that they're going to go to in this week, I don't mind that. With Brian Robinson Jr. being out, I don't mind Antonio Gibson. He's 10 runs, 35 yards. He's the receiving down back. He's one of those guys who he could be, kind of the slate breaker. I mind stacking Sam Howell with Antonio Gibson and bringing it back with Kyron Williams, just because Williams is you normally don't stack running backs for the same game, but Williams is the bruiser where Gibson's going to be the guy who's going to be in there getting the passes and if they're coming from behind. So I don't mind that play at all. But really, other than that, Spears, I don't mind this play. Like I said, he's getting the attempts, but he's on the field when they're down. He's the one who's in there on third downs. He's the one in there on passing downs. He's the one who's in there when the games get, if they're falling behind or if they're playing catch up. 6 catches, 89 yards, and he rushed the ball 7 times for 9. I like Spears a little bit. After that, though, it's really not a whole lot of anything. If you're playing the blowout game where you think Christian McCaffrey rolls all over and blows them out, then Jordan Mason because Elijah Mitchell's out. But other than that, that's probably where I'm sticking with running backs here. So let's jump to another commercial. We got Ryan Allison Tattoo. If you haven't seen his stuff, he just did a Tokyo style dragon today. Super cool, super good work. And he's still offering up free chair time. So continue to share and like his posts. Here's Ryan Allison Tattoo.
My name's Ryan Allison. I've spent over a decade immersed in the art of tattooing. Sharply honing my skills has materialized into a diverse and prestigious body of work. Each tattoo reflects my relentless pursuit of excellence, and every client I work with is a living embodiment of that unwavering commitment. I will gladly and wholeheartedly embrace your distinct vision.
Like I said, Ryan Allen Tattoo, he's still offering up gift. If you're looking for something for somebody, you don't know what to get them, and they're tattoo people, he's offering up gift certificates as well. Stop and see him at Why Not Studios in North Park Mall. Fantastic work by fantastic artists, and he's QC raised, born and bred. Check him out. We've got the wife turned 75 into 75,000. I wish. That'd be really, really nice. But then I'd probably gamble it all away on first baskets and trying to add to Dan Hancock's double parlays. So I don't want to kick myself for winning $75,000. That would be very upset. All right, into the wide receiver group here. We've got Tyreek Hill going against the Jets. Might not play. He's kind of hurt. Where's the cat? There she is. Yep. And this is Callie. She comes and joins me almost every week. She'll sit on my lap and hang out and have fun times. But every week she's down here hanging out. Let's get back into DraftKings here. We got Tyreek Hill. He didn't practice today, but going up against the Jets, number one. I mean, Tyreek Hill he's uncoverable. If he's even just a little bit hurt and he's slowed down a little bit, I think taking away his speed is one of those things to where it can really hurt him. So, if he's hurt, I'm not going to pay almost $10K for him. I'd rather pay for somebody else, like the number 2 guy on the slate, CeeDee Lamb. Total, one of the better matchups, and Dak Prescott just feeds the guy. I mean, and he's just been doing it. He's been showing that he's number 1 wide receiver material. Callie, got to get out of the way. That's your tail. Only 19 points. They kind of tried to shut him down last week, and they really did a good job of it. Only 6 receptions, but the targets are just there. The dude's getting double-digit targets every single week. It's one of those things where he is just, the double-digit target things are just, you'd have to go back to week 6, week 5, week 6, week 4. He was getting 7, 6, 5, 7, but since week 8, he has only not gotten double-digit targets for 2 weeks. And when he didn't get those double-digit targets, it was 9 and 9. So CeeDee Lamb, if you're building around that game, he is a must stack with Dak Prescott. Stephon Diggs, I'm staying away from Stephon Diggs. Now, the Cowboys are a great defense, but they are really boom or bust. They kind of if they're stopping a ball, they're stopping a ball because overplaying the ball. And then if they can get burned. So, I'm not saying that Stephon Diggs is a terrible play. I'd rather be on the other side of it because Josh Allen, if he's getting any kind of pressure, he's just going to yeet the ball out there. And Diggs isn't one that seems like he likes to go and throw the ball. Cooper Kupp at 7,800. That's the cheapest he's been, I believe, since he came back from injury. Actually, last week he was 7,400, but in a bad matchup. But now he goes up $400, which even being under 8K, I really, really like that. But like I said, it could turn into a Kyren Williams game. I think if I want to pay for one of those 2 guys, I'm probably going with Kyren Williams. Deebo Samuel's been doing it all. I love Deebo Samuel. The matchup is just too good. If they're getting it done, he's the one probably between him. It's just hard to pinpoint. It's hard to pinpoint who's going to do it, but Samuel's been doing it the last 3 weeks in a row. Could he make it a 4th? Yeah, absolutely. But now his price is skyrocketed. He went up $900 from last week. So, I don't know that there's a whole lot of meat left on the bones there. Could he do another 38 or 40-point performance? Absolutely. They've been keeping him involved. But I worry that this game kind of has some blowout potential. Mike Evans, I don't think Mike Evans as a bring back. He's kind of been the guy that Baker Mayfield's been targeting, but he's got a low floor. He's got the 30-point potential. He can score you as little as 1.8 points. It doesn't happen very often, but it is there. It is a possibility. I don't know that I want to take the risk on it because the Packers do have a pretty decent secondary with, I believe, Yair Alexander still. I don't know that he's hurt, but I'd have to actually take a look because I'm not entirely sure. Jalen Waddle, if Tyreek Hill's out, I don't mind the discount you get at Waddle, but I do mind that he's being covered by Sauce Gardner and the Jets secondary. The second been with keeping him involved, and if we all saw it last week, the Dolphins are a completely different team with Tyreek off the field, so that does me a little bit. Puka Nacua, if you're looking for a few savings, you can get to Nacua. Like I said, I'd rather pay up for Kyron Williams and be on that part of the ball. Brandon Ayuk, he's probably the guy I'd go to in the San Francisco game. He's having good games. I mean, he's been pretty average, 14 points. He had that 30-point game there, but then 13, 15, 20. I mean, he's super, super consistent, and he's really kind of the true wide receiver on the team, where Debo's more of like the gadget guy. And I mean, we've known this from years past. This could be an Ayuk week. Chris Olave, he's kind of all that the Saints have besides Kamara. He gets targeted all the time. Last week, 5 targets, 4 receptions, 28 yards, but he did have a touchdown. So he's getting red zone looks, or he's getting those deep balls thrown to him. So I don't mind Olave. Just at 7,100, that's just a lot. I almost want to find the extra money just to pay up a little bit more. And guys at the just a little bit lower that I like. Like I said, wide receivers, one of those positions this week that I'm not completely sold on. So I'll probably play a lot of 3 running back lineups, especially in our pull-up. I'll only have 3 running backs. Nico Collins hasn't practiced all week, probably out. DJ Moore, I don't like the matchup, so I'm staying away from him. Adam Thielen, same thing. He's really, really cooled off since the start of the season when he was putting up WR1 numbers. But yeah, I mean, Bryce Young's just been terrible, and he can't get the ball to anybody. DeAndre Hopkins, somebody I don't mind. If this game can stay competitive, Hopkins has been Levis's number 1 target. He's got double-digit targets the last 2 weeks, and he's been having some good games. He's still got it. He can still do it, and Houston's defense doesn't scare me. Rashee Rice, if Pat Mahomes is smashing, it's probably because Rice and Kelsey are helping him out because the run game's not going to be there this week. So I don't mind Rice. Cooper stacked with Flacco. I mean, Cooper, for his price point, for what he can do, 14 targets last week, 7 receptions, only 77 yards, and he lost a fumble. But he just finds the end zone, which he hasn't. I mean, he hasn't found the end zone in 5 weeks. So he hasn't found it in 5 weeks, and he only found it 1 time before that. I mean, he's only had 2 touchdown catches on the whole year. So that says something. So there's got to be some positive regression coming for touchdowns for Amari Cooper. And at $6,000, even the volume, I mean, just the volume alone will get him there. Chris Godwin, no thanks. Garrett Wilson, same thing. I don't mind him. He's getting all the targets when Zach Wilson's on the field, so I like Garrett Wilson. Terry McLaurin, kind of the same thing as Mike Evans. I mean, it's just to a lesser extent. He can get you there, but his floor is a 0. I mean, he got a 0 last week. It kind of sucks. I really like Terry, but not. I'd almost rather just pay for either Dotson or Samuel and save myself the money. Gabe Davis going up against Cowboys, no thanks. Drake London just smashed last week at $4,900. He went up $500, but man, he 11 targets, 10 catches, 172 yards, no touchdown. Imagine if he had a touchdown there. Just the guy just went off. It is a tougher matchup going against Carolina's secondary, but I kind of want to go with Bijan Robinson this week instead from London. Then we get into the realm where I kind of find myself with a lot of players. Romeo Doubs shook his Q tag. I like Romeo Doubs going up against Tampa Bay's pass funnel defense. Brandon Cooks was sick. I think Marquise Brown is going to play. He is questionable, but he was held out of practice. And then he had limited sessions on Thursday and Friday, so he's on track to play. Noah Brown played through the injury. Didn't have any receptions on 7 targets last week. Honestly, I'm probably staying away from the Texans altogether with with CJ Stroud being doubtful. So yeah, let's scratch that. I'm not on Noah Brown. I'm not on Nico Collins. I'm not on Robert Woods. Somebody's got to catch some balls, but I don't trust Davis Mills. Jaden Reed, he shook his Q tag, and Christian Watson's now doubtful. So I really, really like Jaden Reed. I probably like him more than Dobbs. They can both do it, but Jaden Reed's he's really been showing out, and Jordan Love has really gone to him a lot lately. Jahan Dotson, Curtis Samuel, I already talked about both of those guys. I'd rather have one of those than Scary Terry. I talked about Elijah Moore a little bit. I don't mind him. He's still getting targets. Flacco's looking for him on the deep balls. 6 targets, 3 catches, 42 yards. So I don't mind Elijah Moore. Rashid Shaheed is back, it looks like. Shook his Q tag, doesn't have an injury designation. Missed the last couple games. So yeah, that kind of takes some shine off of Olave too, if Shaheed's going to be back, because we know the Giants can be torched in the secondary. So I don't mind Shaheed. Woods, like I said, I'm probably staying away. I don't mind Greg Dortch. Going up against San Francisco, you can beat him through the air, and I think Arizona's going to throw a lot. Jonathan Mingo's been getting a lot of targets. Demario Douglas is back. Khalil Shakir, I'm staying away from. Wan'Dale Robinson, not bad, but the matchup kind of sucks. DeMarcus Robinson kind of was just in there. He got 10 targets last week. He only caught 3 of them, and he caught a touchdown. But I don't know that I'm necessarily going to have to get that low. Yeah, Juju Schuster popped up with the Q tag. So did Devonta Parker. I mean, New England's going to have to throw to somebody. Rondale Moore, I don't mind. Michael Gallup, he's another one. If Brandon Cooks end up missing, Michael Gallup's probably my go-to. I don't mind that at all. And then 2 guys that I wrote up here, one at 3,200, one at 3,000. John Mechie and Xavier Hutchinson from Houston. Like I said, with CJ Stroud going to be out, I don't know that I want to go that low. I mean, they are almost Stoneman price, but yeah, I'd feel better if Stroud was going to be in, but I don't think he's going to. So as he's trending doubtful. So let's hit one more commercial here. We're going to go to Route 96 Boutique. Stop in, check them out, and we'll be back with tight ends defense, and we'll get this thing up. Thanks for watching DFS Deep Dive on the For Frequency Sake Network.
For Fantasy Sake has teamed up with Route 96 Boutique to raise a little more cash for Toys for Tots this season. From September 10th until the end of November, 10% of all purchases made with Route 96 on Sundays will be donated to us for our Toys for Tots drive. At Route 96, they believe in girl power. They want a place that people of all shapes and sizes can shop and feel empowered and beautiful. They want you to be the best you possible, and they are committed to bringing you different styles while also providing some basics to express the true you. You can find them on Facebook and at route96boutique.com.
Route 96 Boutique, check them out. All right. We've got tight ends, defenses, and then we're closing it out here. I kind of preface this in my article. I don't pay up for tight end very often, and it's not going to change this week. Travis Kelce at 7,600. He's just not. I mean, he hasn't done it. He's had one good game, and it seems like there's just a lot of distractions going on. I mean, he had the 40-point game. He's had a couple 20-pointers, but you haven't had to have him. And at $7,600, I just feel like I can put that somewhere else. George Kittle's kind of cooled off after the last few games. He had a 4, then a 10, then a 16. So, I mean, he's still going to get you a pretty decent score. But at 5,800, I feel like there's probably not paying up for that either. Taysom Hill, you're getting some receiving threats back. I mean, he's kind of the gadget guy. Got to get a touchdown in order to do anything for you, which he's been doing a lot lately. But staying away from Taysom Hill. Dalton Kincaid with Dawson Knox back. Not that it's really going to eat into his production a whole lot. I mean, he had 8 targets still last week, but even Dawson Knox back just a little bit into that production. No, thank you. So Trey McBride's kind of where I'm going. he has been doing it all year long. The guy hasn't had less than 7 targets. God, he hasn't had less than 5 targets since week 6. And he's just raking. I mean, he catches everything. And he's looked at in the red zone. I think San Francisco is going to have to. I think Arizona is going to have to throw against San Francisco. So I like that. I did write up Dalton Schultz because I kind of liked him, but now with C.J. Stroud out, I don't like it anymore. Jake Ferguson, same thing. I mean, highest game total on the slate, 4,800. He's one of the highest looked at tight end when it comes to red zone targets. So I don't mind Jake Ferguson at all. He's kind of got to get a touchdown though to pay off. David Njoku's just been lighting it up lately. He finally got a price jump. But I mean, if he's going to continue to get 6 to 9 targets every game, I mean, sign me up. I'm back on board. 2 touchdowns last week. I wouldn't expect that again. But I mean, even if he only has 6 catches for 1 yards, I mean, that's still 15.1 points, which is plenty to get you there. So 15 points, that's 3x for a tight end. That's solid. Cole Kmet, no thank you. Not against Cleveland's defense. Kyle Pitts, no. The guy's been trash all year long. He's had 3 games with double-digit points. No thanks. Rest in peace, Kyle Pitts. Logan Thomas, I don't mind Logan Thomas. Like I said, the Rams aren't the greatest against the tight end, as can be seen right here, but the in-game injury risk is there. It's real. And his floor is the same as Terry McLaurin's. It's a 0. So, I mean, or a 2. So, probably, I mean, I don't mind it. I don't like the game environment, but I'm good. So, I didn't mind, what was it, Davis? Davis kind of just showed out last week. Came out of nowhere, played where, Tyler Higbee was hurt, but now Higbee's back. He shook his Q tag. If both those guys are on the field, no thanks. Cade Otton, I had him in my cash lineup in our double up. Kind of saved us with that last minute touchdown. And, that was really what kind of saved his whole fantasy day. I think he only had like 3 receptions, 2 receptions, 5 targets, 2 receptions. One of them was for the touchdown. So it kind of saved us there. I don't mind Hunter Henry. Somebody I really like is Tyler Conklin. The guy same thing as Garrett Wilson. When Zach Wilson's in there, Conklin's targets are on the up and up. 5 targets, 9 targets, 6 targets. If he could catch a touchdown, but he hasn't caught a touchdown all year long. If he catches a touchdown, he's really going to blow that up. Brevin Jordan, if Schultz would have been out, I didn't mind him. I don't mind Tucker Kraft. Tampa Bay, they're terrible against the pass, no matter where you're at. At 3K, I don't mind him. I don't mind stacking like Jordan Love, Tucker Kraft, and Jaden Reed together. Super cheap stack. Juwan Johnson, just kind of the same thing. I mean, he's super low floor, but he can have an outburst. Chigo Okonkwo is probably where I'm going to go a lot of. $2,900. Look at the chalkboard. Kind of surprising. He's not in the top 10 of the highest owned tight ends. It's kind of crazy to me. David Njoku is the highest owned, and it's not even close. So I don't mind Chig if you need to get save some salary somewhere. Other than that, I'm pretty good. I don't really like anything below that. I mean, yeah, there's some plays that are there, but and you don't need a huge score from your tight end typically, but I mean, usually 10 to 15 points will probably do it most weeks. It's just, are you getting the 10 or 15 points from a $7,600 player or a $2,900 player? Then we roll to defenses. Defenses are a little bit different this week. I don't really like anybody at the bottom. Like 3,000, like I don't want anybody, but I don't think I'm paying all the way up either. 49ers against Arizona, they're probably in the matchup, for 4,400. I'm good. That's really expensive for somebody who's averaging, 8.7 points. That's only 2x their salary. So no thanks. The Dolphins, I don't like that game against the Jets. I just think Zach Wilson, I think he's going to bring it. I think he's going to show that, they made a mistake by benching him, and in Miami's defense just isn't very good. The Chiefs against New England, I don't mind this play. The Chiefs have been pretty elite all year long. At 3,900, not a bad play. I could see them getting to Zappy. Zappy kind of played out of his last week, so I definitely think the Chiefs could come in a little bit pissed off, a little bit angry, and really kind of just put the Patriots' nose in the dirt here. Saints against the Giants. The Giants have, they've just been kind of doing it. The Saints defense hasn't been the greatest, but they're at home. I like them being at home. Will DeVito do it again? Maybe he pays off somebody from the mafia. Who knows? He'll whack somebody or take out somebody's kneecaps. The Titans with going up against God, I thought they were a little bit cheap, but going up against a non-CJ Stroud Houston team with probably their top 2 wide receivers hurt, not a bad play at 3,700. I could see them probably jumping up in ownership. I don't mind paying down $100 less for Atlanta going up against Carolina. But like I said, for some reason I feel like this game is going to have I feel like this game is just going to go off. I don't know why. It's just a gut feeling. I could be totally wrong, but I don't know. I'm probably staying away from the Falcons. The Browns against the Bears, I don't mind that. It just depends on Field shows up. Texans against Tennessee, no thank you. I don't think that's going to be a competitive game. The Bears against Cleveland, no thanks. I think Flacco can shred them up. This is probably where I'm going, man, is Dallas. $3,200 for a team that's averaged 11.9 points. I think the only game where they really haven't done a whole lot, Seattle, they got -1. And San Francisco, they got -1. They've been held to just a few, but just the $3,200 defense that has three games above 20 points, 5 games above 15. I'm sorry, 6 games above 15, and then 7 or 8 games in double digits. I'm telling you, I'm going to call it now. I'm probably going to bet Cowboys defensive touchdown just because Allen's going to throw some stupid pass and Deron Bland might break the record. I think he's tied for it right now, but I don't know. I don't know why they're that cheap. I'm sorry, but the Bills scare me. Rams going up against Washington. The Rams defense hasn't been the greatest. I don't mind it though. Howell away from home has been a lot worse than Howell at home. But that I think is honestly probably as low as I want to go this week. Baker Mayfield can get in trouble, so can Jordan Love, but they've been pretty good about protecting the ball. The Panthers against Atlanta, I don't feel like they throw or give enough opportunities. But Carolina at home, like I said, it could be one of those things where they come out and show out. Derek Carr likes to throw pick sixes, so the Giants. I guess I don't mind the Giants. Same thing with Stafford. He's not always great, so I don't mind the Commanders. I guess the Jets against Tua, and if they don't have Tyreek Hill, possibly. No thanks to the Bills. No thanks to the Patriots. No thanks to the Cardinals. So, but yeah, I think the Rams is probably where I'm going to stick. We got one more minute here before we kind of wrap things up. Yeah, I think where I'm starting my builds this week, it's probably Kyron Williams, probably Bijan Robinson. Tight end will probably be somewhere. I don't mind Njoku. You could put in Njoku. Defense probably coming down to the Cowboys to start. Quarterback, this is kind of where you have the decision to make. You could pay up all the way up for Dak Prescott, but I don't know that I necessarily want to do that, even though I do think the game environment's going to be really good. I do think, however, you could go with like Jordan Love. You could pick up Jaden Reed. You could go with like a Tucker Crow. We already took Njoku. So, but this is where you could go Tucker Kraft at tight end. Then you could even come back with you could go with your flex. You could go Rashad White if you like this game environment. That leaves you with 5,700. I don't mind Garrett Wilson at the 8. Leaves you $5,700 left. Chuba Hubbard, McLaurin. No, we want a receiver, bud. I was like, Joe Flacco. I'll plug Joe Flacco in there. You go with Drake London, Dobbs. I mean, I don't necessarily want to stack a bunch of those guys. Dotson, Curtis Samuel. I mean, you can get somebody in those environments. Like we have Kyron Williams, we go with like Curtis Samuel and kind of round it out like that. But that leaves you $1,000. So if you really, really wanted to pay up for defense, you could. I mean, you could go with like the Saints or even the Falcons against Carolina, the Browns against Chicago. I mean, there's some wiggle room there. Even if you wanted to pay up and just get a other stud running back, you can get Saquon Barkley. If Achane's out, I don't mind even jumping up to Mostert a little bit. But I like Brian Robinson. I think this is probably where I'm going to go. So thanks for tuning in. No Brian again this week. He's just he's got some stuff that's been coming up and he's had tough luck with some health issues and stuff. So shout out to Brian. Hope to see you back. We usually see you on Sunday, so I'll talk to you on Sunday, bud. No questions in the chat. Thanks for tuning in. We've had a couple viewers all night. I really like that. I appreciate you guys for hopping in there. We hit all the commercials. I think that's it. I'm going to go have some dinner, and I hope everybody enjoys the 3-game slate tomorrow, and then tune in on Sunday at 10 o'clock in the morning. And me and the guys will be doing it live, and I'll have my ladder challenge up by 11. So see you guys next week, and that's all I got. Thanks for hanging out. Peace.